You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about acceptance. We're going to get situations sometimes that we're not going to like. We're going to have circumstances that we wish were different. But the thing is, you can't change people. Sometimes you can't even influence a situation, but you can manage it, and you can turn to others for support or our show for inspiration to get through those times that are hard, that are challenging. So we're going to be taking your calls on wherever you are in your life right now where you're struggling with accepting a circumstance in your life. Reach out to me at 800-333-0001. Also, our inspirational guest in our next segment, Emily Graham, is going to talk about how she had to accept the death of her 7-year-old by mysterious causes just a few years ago near Christmas. Sad story, but at the same time, it's got an inspirational twist because we have to remember those that pass along and remember them and celebrate their life, and she does a great job at that. And also, we want to make sure that beyond today's show that you are supported. So go to livingfullout.com to hear this show again or all of our different episodes that we have. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show. Hi, thank you for calling. Hi, how can I help you?
Hi, my name's Marco, and I actually have a question for you.
Yep.
My question is, how do I build more intimate relationships and not feel discouraged when, like, I get rejected or it really doesn't work out? So that's my question.
That's not a good feeling, right? Nobody wants to be rejected. But, you know, the thing is you cannot change people, as I said earlier. You cannot influence people. If somebody is going to do something, whether it's in integrity or out of integrity, you can't control that. But what you can do is be responsible for your own actions. Okay, so meaning that, let's say you go through a breakup, and let's say, you know, that makes you doubt people or always wonder why or what you could have done differently. That's not really going to serve you as you try to live full out in life, as you try to meet that next somebody, right? It's just going to keep you emotionally going in circles. So what is the relationship that you're kind of challenged with right now? Did you recently go through a breakup, or has somebody kind of done you wrong recently?
I haven't gone through a recent breakup. It's more of that I've been kind of wronged. I've actually never been in a serious committed relationship. So I just want to know, but I do feel that it goes in circular motions, with trying to get involved or past a certain point. I mean,
so you want to be in a more intimate relationship. You'd like to be.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. No, I just want to get or have the opportunity to,
okay. Let me ask you a question. Would you date you?
Would I date myself? Well, it's like I'd like to think I'm a gentleman. I'm finishing school right now. I'm working on my degree, and I actually have plans for after I graduate. I'm planning to be a elementary school teacher. I actually got offered a position for Teach for America, and I'm going to be moving to Las Vegas and teaching 4th and 5th graders. So I think I've got, some prospects and some opportunities, and
Here's what I want.
going
Here's
for
what
me,
I want
so-
you to do for me. Here's what I want you to do for me. So you have great life momentum going in your favor, and everything that you just mentioned to me is great. Boxes are getting checked right and left. Right? Stable job, check. Gentleman, check. Right? Maybe you'll even buy a house at some point or get a condo. Check. Right?
Right.
But life is not about just checking boxes. Life is about being a storyteller. So having something to bring to the table. So when you have that date and you're sitting across from someone that you really like and they're kind of giving you butterflies, it's not about listing off the boxes that you're checking, but it's about tapping into the meaningful you and having kind of illustrative stories that show why you're a gentleman, stories that show the path to what it took to become a teacher, why you became a teacher. So it is the stories that you tell that have someone fall in love with who you are. And it kind of brings them up to speed with the journey that you've had. Now, when we start dating someone, it's not like they're going to instantly know 10 years of our life, right? But it's the
Right.
stories that you tell that allow them to see those different layers to you. And then vice versa. You know, it's coming up with questions that you can ask that person to peel away the onion, you know, get to that gooey, awesome middle, right? So it's not just, you know, what do you like to do for fun and where do you live and what do you do? It's what are your favorite hobbies? Oh, you like to do that? Why? Have you been doing it for a long time? Ask questions. But if you do all of that, you're gonna build a more intimate bond. Do you see that?
I understand because it's less generic and less superficial and more meaningful conversations.
Exactly. And it's very common in the dating world. Somebody will say, "Oh, she looks good on paper. He looks good on paper." Those are the boxes that we check. But it's the words that you say. It's everything in the middle. It's your heart. It's your mind. It's all of that is signature to you, and that's what you want to let shine. Okay? But I so appreciate you calling in and let us know how it goes.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You
Love that he asked that question, right? Because he wants a relationship. He wants to build a connection with someone that's meaningful. So to do that, you have to open up. You have to sometimes even disclose something that isn't really sexy or awesome, right? I know I've been on several dates early on where I had to tell that person, you know, I'm losing my vision. By the way, I have retinitis pigmentosa. Might go blind. Is that a problem? But it's all about how you phrase something. So I learned over time, rather than coming out and saying it like that, I would say, "I got good news." And he would say, "What?" And I would say, "Well, I'm never going to see gray hairs. I'm never going to see wrinkles because I am legally blind." So if you put a comedic twist on how you look at yourself or flaws that you feel you may have or mistakes you may have made, it's all about how you position it. It's about choosing your words. Now, getting word from a producer, we have another caller on the line. Hello, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. My name is Leslie, and I have a question.
Yeah, hi Leslie, what's going on?
Well, I have been a teacher for 33 years, and I am planning on retiring the end of the school year. However, as it gets closer, I'm really second-guessing my decision. I was excited about it, and I'm wondering if it was really what I should be doing right now. Would I know? Or is it normal for me to sort of waffle back and forth because it's such a big decision?
Why do you like teaching?
I absolutely love it. I love, and
but why? But why do you love it?
I love it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that I'm good at it. I have great relationships with my students, and I've taught everything from kindergarten to high school. It's not just about a certain age of kids. It's the teaching itself. It's the giving. It's the taking. It's the relationship.
Now, the reason, Leslie, I asked that question, the why, and this is something I want you to think about beyond today's call. So consider right now that we're opening a book, and it's the story of Leslie. right? And I'm going through the pages. I'm going chapter by chapter, right? So right now, this is a chapter of your life, but it doesn't mean that it's every chapter. So you might just try to figure out why you like teaching, see if you're meant to stay in this role, or maybe you take those nurturing, mentoring skills and put it into another form. Maybe it's being a volunteer. Maybe it's helping out at a cause or a foundation that's near and dear to your heart. If you consider that, I think you'll see, yes, I want to retire and I want to try something new, or no, I don't think I want to retire yet. I really like the role I'm in. But I really appreciate you calling in, and I hope that helps. Picture the book of Leslie, and what does that next chapter look like? Okay, thank you for calling in. And everybody, stay with us. We're going to be taking more of your calls and back with our inspirational guest, Emily Graham, shortly. Stay with us. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Let's make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then...
And then nothing. Ha, 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 ha. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about acceptance. And sometimes that's really hard. Like when life gives us a hardship that is just devastating. How do you accept that? How do you move forward? Well, our inspirational guest today, Emily Graham, had just that happen to her when her 7-year-old passed away due to mysterious causes. But everything leading up to his passing was just a very intense 24 hours. And she's going to share this with us today so that we can all be kind of educated more on seeing the signs as well as understanding how we can get through and manage such epic stress in moments of such terrible news. So I'd like to welcome Emily back to the show. Hello, Emily.
Hi, Nancy. Thanks for having me.
Hi. This is such a tough topic to talk about because, whether it's a 7-year-old or someone who's 99, grieving is just a topic that a lot of times we run from, but at the same time, it's something that's important to talk about because we want to learn from you. I am so amazed by the grace that you had under such pressure, and everybody, you'll know what I mean when you hear her story. So I'd like to take our audience back a bit. I know it was Christmas time, December 2015, and you and your husband were preparing the gifts, and all the kids were asleep, and you were about to start watching a movie and just having a little couple time. But then you heard somebody up. What happened from there?
I did. Yeah, and it's one of those reactions of, oh my gosh, get to the kid before they get to the living room. And when I got there, my son was awake, and I found him in the bathroom. He was sick. And immediately, we just assumed, great, we're going into the holiday with a sick kid. And so you go into mode of taking care, assessing, trying to figure out what's going on. And it was like, keep him here in the room, get him cleaned up, but then we need to get him back to bed so that everything is good. And really things sort of kind of spiraled quickly within the first couple of hours. We went from sort of typical illness, stomach bug kind of stuff, to really high fever. He wasn't able to keep down medication that would help control the fever. And there were just some weird things, like he lost the ability to walk. We had to sort of carry him around. He just seemed way tired, more than normal. And there were just kind of some weird personality things that I started to pick up on. But it was the fever that spiked and sort of made us say, okay, we got to take him to the ER.
Well, I know at that point, you had 2 other little ones, a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old. So you had to, your husband stayed back to watch after them, and you went ahead with your son.
We did.
Now, as they started inspecting your son a little bit further and doing their tests and all that, what was your state of mind? Because I think a lot of times we feel like, okay, I'm going to be here for a couple of hours and then we'll go home.
Yes. That was exactly sort of our mindset. I say we have this false sense of security that when we get to a hospital, there are doctors there that are going to take over, know exactly what they're doing, and everything's going to be okay. And I think that was sort of the space I was trying to keep myself in. And I just had this nagging feeling in the back of my mind that this was more than just, a couple hours and we're going home. I stepped back. I was trying so hard to just stay out of everybody's way, give them as much information as they could, and just let them run their tests. They kept coming back with mysteries. I mean, the whole night it was just mystery after mystery. And things just sort of started to decline. And so, like I said, I was trying to stay out of everybody's way and just stay positive, but in the back of my mind thinking, holy crap, this is not looking good.
Well, and I know that they were grasping at straws too. They were kind of looking at you,
they were.
not essentially accusatory, but did you give him something wrong? And then they're thinking, well, he might have this, he might have that. And how, as you saw him deteriorate and truly slip away, how did you not just lose your mind and scream and panic?
So initially, I mean, it's the middle of the night, right? We got to the ER at 2:00 in the morning, and he was tired, and we just kept saying he's so tired, like he just needs to get some sleep. So once he kind of fell asleep, I felt like, okay, this is good. He's getting some rest. They were running their tests, and while everything's still coming back weird, we had sort of narrowed it down. So we were thinking encephalitis, meningitis. The plan is we're going to do a spinal tap, and that's going to rule out one or tell us that it's one. And I felt like we're going to have a diagnosis, we're going to have a plan of attack, and so I'm just going to let him rest. And so when the doctor came back into the room and they were prepping him for the spinal tap, that's when things got worse because we were not able to wake him up. And so he sort of opened his eyes. I think there was a little bit of seizure activity, and that was the last time that that things were good. Right before he went to sleep, his last words to me were, "I love you," and that's what I said to him, which I am so grateful for. But at that point, he became emergent, and they were moving us to a new room. They were trying to expedite the spinal tap. We were being transferred to Children's Hospital because they did not have pediatric specialty at the hospital that we were at, and so we were waiting for the transport to arrive, and there was just a lot of chaos. They were trying to intubate him prior to the trip to the other hospital, mostly to protect his airway, and so I have doctors trying to say, it's okay, he's stable, we're doing this for his protection, it's going to be okay. And like I said, I'm just trying to stay out of everybody's way, but at the same time, like inside my brain, I'm going, oh my gosh, what am I watching?
Yeah. We see this in the movies, and then we never think this is going to be us. And it was you, and sadly, you were by yourself. Obviously, your husband was at home with the other kids. And, what I think is so important about this story is, again, just how you, under such stress, were able to stay calm, were able to, in some ways, numb yourself to be able to take all this in. Because if you had been more hysterical, if you had, been more in the way, it just could have been a different situation. You might have found yourself fainting, going under, your own level of stress. So, now I know eventually they did end up transferring him to a different facility, and they really started to say to you, not any more words of hope, not that it's going to be okay.
Exactly.
But almost preparing you.
Things changed. Absolutely. Things changed on that trip. And as we were exiting the ambulance, I will never forget, the guy in the back looked at me and said, things have changed. Our plan was to go to a step-down ICU unit, and they said, we are now going to pediatric ICU. We need to go have a scan done on his brain immediately because his pupils are no longer, they're dilated, they're no longer reacting. And so I knew in that moment, that to me was sort of this is not going anywhere that we thought it was going, like there is not going to be a good outcome here.
Well, Emily, I want you to stay with us because the next chapter of this is really important for the audience to understand and hear. And so stay with us as we go to this break. And everybody listening, we're with Emily Graham right now. We are talking about acceptance and how do you find that? How do you muster that? How do you square the circle of why? Stay with us. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about acceptance and finding the heart, the will to do so when the most unbelievable circumstances are happening in our life. And our inspirational guest today, Emily Graham, she went through just that when her 7-year-old got really sick, and then it just kept deteriorating his condition. And then ultimately he did pass. So we are going to jump back into our interview. So welcome back, Emily.
Thank you.
Now, I really want everybody to understand where we are with her story, because she's at this new hospital and he's not responding. And you've been really strong up to this point. But then the news was coming that you knew that no parent wants to hear. And did you find the courage to hear that news on your own, or did you want your husband there?
So when we reached that point, my husband had not yet made it to the hospital. I was standing in the hallway while they were working on my son, and I knew when the doctors walked down the hallway that that's the news they were about to deliver. I could just see it all over their face. They asked if I wanted to wait until my husband arrived, and I just needed the news because, like any mother, your child is your most important priority. And so I needed to get back into that room with him. And so I was like, tell me now so that we can keep moving forward. I need to get back to him.
Mm-hmm. And how did you process or manage all the emotions and I imagine phrases in your mind of, is he okay? Does he need me? Is he scared?
Yep. Absolutely. And I think that, honestly, you go into a state of shock, and you just sort of start operating from, I don't even know how. For me, it was just like you said, watching a movie, and you just can't even believe that this is your life. So it was very surreal. And it was all about getting back into that room. And like I said, I had watched him deteriorate. So for me, I knew in my head that this was not going to turn around. And doctors saying things like, we're very concerned. Even if he would come out of this, he will not be the same boy that went into it. And they said, and I want you to know that the odds of him coming out of this are probably almost zero. And so they kept using that terminology, which I think kind of starts to pre-program your mind. So when my husband showed up, the doctor came back in and sort of delivered the news to him as well. And so for him, it was harder because he had not seen the full deterioration in person. And so he was still kind of trying to find those straws or grasp at straws. And it's like you're on a train barreling towards a mountain, and there's literally nothing that can stop it. And all you can do is sit back and watch it happen. It's just like unreal.
Well, and the hospital itself had their procedures that they had to go through, testing to really declare his full situation. And there are all these mysterious, why did this happen in the first place? But you had some time with him, but then you made a choice. You knew that they needed to keep doing these tests, even though you didn't want them to, but it gave you a moment to be able to go back home and tell your daughter, your 4-year-old daughter, what was happening, and to be able to spend just an ounce of time with her, literally on Christmas, for her to open her own gifts. How did you find the words to even tell her what was going on?
Honestly, I did not have a single idea what I was going to say to her when I walked in the door. We just knew we had family on planes coming to us, and I wanted to be the first one to get to her and share the news versus all these people showing up on our doorstep. And so we made the choice to leave the hospital, go home. We spent like 30 minutes with her, and I was trying to explain to her in the best terms I could find, in terms, that your brother will not be coming home. His body is very sick, and, try to help her wrap her brain around that. It's Christmas morning. It's actually afternoon. She hasn't opened her gift yet. So we felt like she needed that. I mean, that was important to her, to have at least some sort of normalcy as much as we could give. And it was torture. It was absolute torture, trying to put on a brave face, trying to smile through and give her as positive experience as possible, knowing full well that she is not going to really grasp what's happening until much later.
Well, I am super proud of you, because I think everybody listening to your story right now can picture that moment, and knowing that you're naturally crying but not wanting to cry, and trying to be the parent but yet inside crying your heart out, because your son is passing. And when you got back to the hospital, you still had a little bit more time where they hadn't made any changes. They were still testing. And I remember, like, when my dad passed away, I saw him, and it was only 6 hours later that he passed. And there's this time that you have with somebody, and it's, what do you say? And can they even hear you? Whether it's physically hear you or in the spiritual sense.
Right.
And so how did you spend that time?
Yeah, I spent almost all of that time laying in bed beside him. and just holding him. And I remember just thinking exactly what you said. Like, I'm sure that he can hear me physically, and if not physically, spiritually. And I just kept reassuring him. I sort of say I was giving myself a grief pep talk of like, wow, your world is about to turn upside down. I can't believe this is happening. We have to figure out how to survive this. And so to him, it was more or less a, don't worry, we will figure this out. It's going to be okay. I know that, there's nothing that you can do at this point, and this is sort of where we are. But it was sort of trying to give that reassurance of like, it's okay. We know you can't hold on any longer, that, you can't be with us the way that we want you to be. And so we will figure out a way to get through.
And you did eventually let him go, and the hospital let him go. And I just have to ask though, because you are so strong. You might debate that on certain days. I'm sure you feel less strong, but you are so strong. But at the same time, when something happens like this, where it's all these mysterious causes of what's happening, where do you put anger? Where do you put all those different stages of grieving?
There was a lot of anger, and it followed quickly after. It was one of those things where we said we knew we were going to do an autopsy because there was so many mysteries. We needed to have some sort of answer, because you feel like you want closure, but you never actually get closure in these sorts of situations, even if you get answers. But we knew we wanted to do that. I spent a lot of time, months, even years. Even now, I have moments where that anger still creeps back in. So there's absolutely so many layers to it.
Did they ever have a final cause in the autopsy?
So after about a 6-month autopsy, our pathologist stumbled upon something that pointed at a rare genetic blood disorder called porphyria. And we were told that we needed to be tested. So my husband and I were tested. My husband was a carrier. It's a hereditary condition. We did not know that it existed. And once my husband tested positive, both of my daughters had to be tested, and they both tested positive as well. So we are now sort of living a world where we are managing and have sort of an awareness that, we need to be cautious or know the things that are safe for them or not safe for them.
It's nobody gives you a manual when you become a parent, right? These are those
not at all.
Twists and turns. But when you think about what happened, and for our audience who's listening today, and they're dealing with a child that is sick, or knowing that someone is in the hospital and they may not make it, what words of advice do you have for them?
I really tell people that everybody's experience with grief is different, and I don't believe that society prepares us for loss, right? We have no idea what to expect, and I often hear from people who will say, I feel crazy, or people just don't get it until they've walked this path. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think that it's all about leaning in, feeling what you're feeling in the moment, and acknowledging and accepting the fact that this is just the way that it is. And it's really learning how to balance the heaviness that comes with it, because you will never go back to being the person that you were before, but you do have to learn how to carry this grief that will continue to trigger and impact you for the rest of your life.
Well, and just trigger and impact. How do you stay positive around the holidays and not go back to thinking about his passing?
Every holiday is difficult. For me personally, when we hit Halloween, that is when I start to feel grief creep back in, because all the traditions leading up to the holidays, but also the rest of the world starts counting down to Christmas. And so for us, Christmas is his death date. And so we look at it as we're literally counting down to the worst moment of our life. And it's a balance. And one of the things that I learned in grief is the word "and." So you can have happiness and sadness at the same time. And that's literally what your life looks like after.
Right there, I think you just gave us all a gift. It is balance. It can be the best time and the worst time, and that is true.
And it is all at the same time.
So many aspects of our life. Well, Emily, I wish the circumstances of today's topic were happier, but I gotta tell you, I am so proud of you. What a stellar mom. And I think that your son was very comforted and very proud of you as well during that time. So thank you so much for courageously telling your story. I know it hasn't even been that many years since it happened.
No, not at all.
But we're going to be thinking of you over the holidays and, of course, thinking of him. What's his name? Your son's name?
Cameron.
So in memory of Cameron, we dedicate this show. And thank you so much, Emily, for sharing your story.
Thanks, Nancy.
Have a great day. And everybody listening, again, it's a tough topic, right? Grieving and finding a way to accept what's happened in all of our lives. But when we can accept it, that's when we take the power back. That's when we choose to write our story the way that we want it to go. So stay with us. We're going to be taking more of your calls. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're going to jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Have you ever lost a cat? And have you ever wanted to get your cat back after you lost it? I'm Andrew Hoffman. I invented the Lost Cat Magnet. Just turn it on and lost cats stick to it. Just listen to one satisfied cat. That's proof. You should invent stuff too. But remember, don't do a lost cat magnet.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation, and the Ad Council.
We are your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
When it comes to accepting a situation, I encourage you to get angry, cry, flush out the emotions that are holding you back from being able to move forward. But put a time frame around that. Don't let it go on forever. To accept means that you take your power back so that you can live your life full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we've been talking about accepting what comes at us, right? There's going to be what we can plan for. And trust me, I'm a planner. Everybody who knows me knows I love to plan. But I know that things are going to happen in a day where it's off plan. And you kind of have to be flexible, and you have to welcome flow into your life. And sometimes in life, we're not going to get answers. Not everything is 1 + 1 = 2. Sometimes you just don't get that equation solved. And so you have to think about, okay, if I can't get that solved, how am I going to manage this time in my life, the stress, this burden? And that is what our show is here to do, is to be that source of strength when you need it. And also everybody in your life who are cheerleaders for you to be and do your best, they're right there too, but nobody's going to know if you don't reach out. So I'm just encouraging you that if you're having a day where it's tough, or it's been a really overwhelming week or month, I want you to open up to somebody today and get that support that you need. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hi, welcome to the show. Hi, how can I help you?
Hi, good, how are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
I was just wanting to know, curious question, is that I was in a relationship for 5 years, and obviously I was devastated. But how come when you're in a long relationship, why does it take like a female to like so long to just get over that one person that you absolutely love?
Do you still love that person?
Yes.
Okay. How long ago was the breakup?
It was 2 years ago.
Okay. So here's the thing. This is my take on it, okay? My take is whenever we have said to somebody, I love you, it doesn't mean that the love goes away. It doesn't go away. I think that's part of the hard part of moving on is, where does the love go? It doesn't go away. But love comes in different colors, right? So there's the butterfly, puppy love, vibrant color of love. There's that love. And then there's like the people who have been married 50, 60 years love. It might be a little bit duller color, but still there, right? And then there's the colors in between, right? Because you love your friend differently than you love a partner, differently than you love your pet, right? So we take into consideration the fact that it's like a crayon box, right? And there's different shades of colors of love. What you need to do is take back the power of letting this love control you, because you have to set it free. You love that person. You still love that person. You did love that person. You will always love that person. Just say it, get it out there. That's that. Okay. But given all of that, that person who you loved was a part of your life for X amount of time, 5 years. And you went through a lot of ups and downs together. But it doesn't mean necessarily that that person is the person that you one day say, I do to. It doesn't mean that that person is necessarily the love that's beside you when you take your last breath. It's okay to let that love be a standalone, perfect love for the time that you were with him. Not build it up, not break it down, just validate it for the time that it was. But the longer you keep yourself hooked on that love of that 5-year period, the longer this other dreamy, awesome person misses out on you, because you don't see them, you can't see them, you can't feel them, you're not open to them. So the minute that you quantify this love as like a significant love of your life, but it was just for that period of time, now you open yourself up to somebody else coming in. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And do you know what the good news is?
What?
I believe we have more than one love. We don't get just one soulmate, right? So all the things that you loved about that person, companionship, dating, butterflies, you name it, you can have more than one love in your life. You just have to allow yourself to be open to that. Can you do that?
Of course. I'll try, but
well, you know what? That's all you can. That's all you can ask of yourself. That's all you can ask of yourself. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Love that she brought up that question, right? Because sometimes we have to accept the end of a love, the end of a life. But when we do that, we birth the opening, the beginning of something new, a new chapter, a new love. And that is what it means to live full out. So our entire Living Full Out family, thanks you so much for listening today. We have Eilish and Gio and Rich and oh my gosh, so many people, Rebecca and Alyssa and Caleb. And I mean, I could go on. But the reason why I share all of our team member names with you is because you have a whole supporter, a whole crew, a whole team of people that are rooting for you to be out there, live full out, and do your best. Here's to you living full out. I'll see you on the next show.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.